He's panicking.
He's panicking.
He's panicking.
I got two things open. How have I got two things open?
I don't even know.
Hang on.
I don't even know where we left off or where we got cut off. But I just did an amazingly unnecessary rant about a person just to call her a piece of shit. So that's just what you missed.
Oh, that was
No,
the
we
perfect
caught-
time for the
caught it,
stream to get just
Right.
boom.
No, we caught that. So what happened was I was on my phone. I had Coughing Dapper on my phone, and I was trying to
Oh,
see
boy.
screen share off my phone,
Yep.
and I couldn't. So then I just went end, thinking my phone would end, and the whole stream ended. And you were both
Dylan,
taking the piss out of me, basically saying I
you
need to grift more and stuff. That's all they
you
lost.
never do that. You never try something for the first time
No,
on a live stream at 6 o'clock in the
just
morning.
amazing
I
misstep.
know.
Just amazing. But Lady Law and I were chatting privately, and we think that we can raise enough money to hire you a producer because you've just reached that level at this point. Like, you shouldn't be doing this yourself. Like, you're an
Yeah.
elevated, you're a star at
Yeah.
this point. So you need some help.
Send
I've got 4 people
applications.
here. So I've got 4 people in chat, and it's I'm a star. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yes.
Fucking hell. Right, hang on. Let me get the presentation up again. I don't know
Dave,
what
Dave,
go on.
do you have I'm sorry, do you have a stream? I need to follow you on YouTube?
No, I don't have a stream. I do some
So
weird live streaming shit every now and then in the morning, but I just follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm the most annoying.
That's where you do it? Okay,
Yeah.
got you. I think I did follow you. Follow me back, punk.
Okay, I will. I'm
He
on it.
doesn't.
He said,
He's not.
he said okay.
He's not even followed me back yet. So I mean,
I'm bad. I'm bad
Well,
with that. But that's
that's 'cause you're a
that's not
boomer.
my fault. That's the algorithm's fault. Because once we start to engage, I see your shit and think I'm following you. So that's not
Yeah, that's
my
fair.
fault. Put that on somebody else.
Yeah, that's fair. I will.
Well,
do
I
that.
followed you, I think, last night, Dave, so I should be at, like, the top of your list
Okay.
unless you've been on Twitter all night long.
I have not been
So
on Twitter all night long, so I will find you
Okay.
and I will follow you. Yes.
I will find you.
Right. I am. Thank you, Shauna. I am.
Oh,
I am
Sean,
rattled.
that's so sweet.
I'm rattled now. Hi, Sharon. Hello. Things like I'm rattled. I don't even know where we are anymore. We're talking about dog bites. I was trying to find stuff. I did find a tweet where Coughing Dapper said that Chloe is in Vermont. She's not allowed to engage with other dogs
Yep.
and all this kind of crap. So that's what I was trying to share with you guys. She's been on other panels discussing it as well, and the reason why it's not dog bites and things like that. So, yeah. So, right.
I mean,
That's why.
Lady Law has turned me. All right, so she has turned me. I'm officially
She turns
back.
a lot of people.
I'm officially back on the Karen Reed did not do this train because it is so absurd. Now, don't get me wrong. I like facts to be played out. I like
There you go.
I like
In the
things
courtroom.
yes, I like things to happen in a courtroom where it's right there for everybody to diagnose all this. But I am too stupid of a human being to be able to diagnose everything that's happened up until this point and the internet madness that is out there. However, there are so many fucking coincidences in this goddamn case, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And so, Lady Law, you have beaten me down to the point where I am now a full-fledged Karen Reed supporter. And I didn't think I
Well,
was. I
listen.
thought I was in the middle, but I'm a supporter now.
I think you have to be innocent unless proven guilty in the
Yes.
court of law, because
Amen.
there are reasons that certain evidence doesn't come into a trial. There's reasons why we have to kind of start with that mentality, because it's real easy for the government to be corrupt, and it's real easy for the government to you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and that's how
Right.
you lose your rights. So you have to kind of start with that mentality.
Right. And let's talk quickly about all the random fucking coincidences. So, 1, we have a missing dog. 2, we have the floors ripped up in the home, which they claim
Okay,
was
wait.
the floors were ripped up in the home of I think the basement or wherever, after, like, very quickly after this happened, and the home was for sale. I was told that the floors were ripped up because of a leaky toilet. So I was told that 2 weeks ago, by the way, and for a while I just heard it was a leak, but it was a leaky toilet specifically.
When we say timing, when we say quickly after, like, how long are we talking? Because time frames are important
Yeah,
too,
well,
right?
for argument's sake, let's say 90 days. Is that fair?
Do we know that it was 90 days?
Dylan, do you? I don't. I don't remember, but
making
I
things
feel like
up.
it was very quick. I feel like it was very quick. Now,
Okay.
some of the I think this was misinformation out there. Where the home took place, the home was sold. The home was put on sale before this incident occurred.
Okay.
So the home was for sale. I don't know if there was a for sale sign on the outside. I think it could be one of those.
Okay.
I mean, the
So it's been
market's
sold anyway.
Yeah, the market's so hot that it would have sold anyway. So it could have been an off market type of thing or unlisted or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
So that's one of them.
Okay.
The floors were ripped up. Damn it, I'm blanking on some of the others. Dylan, you might remember some of them. Obviously, the investigator Proctor, knowing the family, I went on that stupid rant last time again.
We're going back on that right now, so
Yeah.
don't worry about it. We're still going on there. So we could right. This dog thing, are we going to put that to bed for now, and then we go on your rants? Then
Yeah, I don't think
No,
we. I don't,
not
you
not
know
until
what?
you make a shirt that says, "Where's Chloe?"
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we could talk offline later, but I don't trust him with any of the business development plans anymore. It's just,
Okay.
it's not
All right.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
no,
Well,
we got some other
we'll talk.
ideas. Yeah, we've got some other ideas which we'll talk offline. Dave's given me. I'm not going to announce it because people just take my ideas and run with it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Nick will
I mean, that
all
I
ideas.
can attest to that. I've seen it happen. Poor Dylan.
Yeah,
I finally had to
all
tell
the
him to
time.
just shut up. I was like, bro,
Yeah.
you can't tell people until the day of because this is
And literally, I would
ridiculous.
say what I was going to do, and next day, fucking other people were doing it, mate. So it's like I got to shut up. So the ideas that we got offline, Dave, we'll discuss offline, and
That's
we'll
fair.
surprise people with
That's
it.
fair. We'll bring it to the
Surprise
board.
people.
I get it. I get it.
We've got it.
It looks
So-
like MLS is in the chat. He told me
So-
good morning. I just now saw it. Good morning.
I said last time, right, but about this, I don't think this was a dog. I said that, because I did a stream not long ago with Frankie saying I didn't think it was a dog, I didn't think it was a car. So my question mark, Lady Law, you might know this, right, is that he was still bleeding when they found him.
Yes.
He was.
So, yeah, he was still bleeding. So that's why I'm like, sure, if he was dead, you stop bleeding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he was dragged out there like an hour or two before. And this is pure speculation. I have no idea.
Oh,
obviously.
I don't think they meant to kill him. I think he like obviously a fight broke out and they kicked the shit out of him and then like in the worst way ever threw him out there and left him to bleed out to die in a snowstorm. It's horrific.
But okay, so when you're in the cold, your veins and things constrict, so that's going to actually limit the bleeding. If your heart stops pumping, you're not going to continue bleeding. So I have questions about that.
Yeah,
Of course, I'm not a medical doctor, but
so A, it was impossible for her to run over him, is what I'm saying. And B, it didn't happen outside; it had to happen inside, which is why I think the head he got pushed into one of those poles indoors, and he's got beaten up. And then I think the same as you, Dave. I don't think they meant to kill him, but then it came to a point that they did. It was like, oh fuck, what do we do now?
Well,
and they
okay.
panicked and then chucked him outside.
I do have to add a little buffer here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is your opinion that you
Right.
think
Yeah.
that they killed him.
Speculation.
This entire show
I've
is
said
an
that.
opinion
I've
program.
said that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I said that
Okay.
before I even said that. I said this is my
Clearing that up.
speculation on it. Yeah. I think
Just
this is
clear
all
it up.
speculation. We don't even know anything really. Do you know what I mean? It's all pure speculation. I don't believe anything until I see everything in court. I don't care what anybody says. It's all speculation.
Not trying to get some defamation.
Yeah.
Like-
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
No, this is all
No.
opinion. And to add to this conversation that I don't know if any of us are qualified to have is I think the wind chill was like it brought it to like negative 24 degrees outside. I've read a good amount that there was no frostbite on his body. So if he was outside for let's just call it what's round up 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. If he's outside for 5 hours in that element like that with no fucking sweatshirt on or anything like that, like I'd imagine frostbite would be involved in that situation.
Well, I don't know. How does that play into like if you're already dead? I mean, how does
but your temperature would still be down, wouldn't it? Even if you're dead, you would, you put in the freezer, you would plummet, wouldn't you? Even more if you're outside, I believe. And he wouldn't even be bleeding though if he were dead.
He wasn't pronounced
I'm gonna
dead.
have to.
He wasn't
I'm
pronounced
gonna have
dead
to
till he got
research
to the
that.
hospital at like 7:30, right?
Yeah, something like that. Or I'm
Yeah.
not sure the time, but
Yeah.
so this is why I said on Twitter. So I don't agree. I don't see why Karen Reid was even like arrested for this. From what speculation, from what I've seen, I just don't see it because he could never been outside. I don't think she reversed into him at 24 miles per hour and those little things. Now, do I think she was drinking under the influence? Absolutely. And I think there was probably some other things she'd be prosecuted for, but not, in my opinion.
Well, we
this.
went over this last time too. Is that whether you like it or not, if I was Jen McCabe, one of the witnesses in this case, and I heard Karen Reid say the words, "I hit him, I hit him," I don't really care. Like, it shouldn't really matter which way you lean in this case. That information has to work itself back to the investigators regardless, and they're going to take that very seriously, right? If the words I hit him happened. I'm just of the impression that those are words from an individual who was blackout drunk, and everything is running through her brain. We talked about that last time. She's just saying this shit. I think I hit him. However, the police investigators who went into this with their predetermined situation have on record her admitting she said that, a person saying they heard it. So of course she's going to be,
Well,
you know.
but like you said, when you don't know what's happened and you don't, you're just like, oh my gosh, did I do this? Could I have done this? And if you're speaking out loud, and then that comes back to kind of bite you in the butt later. But it's not
She's done it
unreasonable to think that
she's
she
done
would
it.
say that.
She's done that multiple times. I mean, there was even an interview with her father that was done where I think she told her father that she thought she hit. I don't know if it was specifically worded like this, but it was something like, "I thought I hit something lightly, not I hit a person or I hit
She
John."
did. It was a vehicle pulling out of the
It
driveway.
was the vehicle. That's what the attorney is then arguing, that's what he was alluding to. But the quote that he had was kind of weird about it, I think. But yeah,
Okay.
but that's how it's now looked. It's now looked at least from the defense perspective, is that, when she said that to the father, it was about the car hitting another car in the driveway. Which, if
Because
you
can
like,
see,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
you can see in that video of her, backing out of the house, you can see that she clearly did bump into that vehicle that was behind her.
Yep.
On that right passenger side, where
I disagree. I didn't see that. I didn't see it, if I'm being honest.
if you
I
slow it,
watched it.
Dylan, do
I
you have the
I've
video?
watched it all angles. I have, but I'm not going even risking to see the video now. I played it down really slowly. I don't think that she bumped into, and if she did,
You
it
can
would
see
have been.
it.
I disagree, but
Well,
that's fine.
regardless, if
You wear
she
glasses.
regardless, if she didn't, then her taillight, either way, it doesn't really matter. Her taillight's
It doesn't
intact
matter,
either
no.
way, pretty much, right? Like it's I think the argument by somebody was making that when she backed out that day, she hit another car and it created a crack in the taillight, but the taillight was still like intact, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When the car then goes out and the car is now it's at the Albert's home until I want to say 1:00 in the afternoon the next day, because she went to the hospital with John. So she's like playing that situation out. The car's there. She takes the car from 1 p.m. that day, drives to Dighton, Massachusetts, which is about, I want to say 45, let's call it 45 minutes to be safe. So let's just round up. She gets to her parents' home in Dighton at 2 p.m. The car is not back to Canton. I think Michael Proctor, the investigator, went to go get the car in Dighton, and I don't think it was back to Canton until like 5:30 or something like that. So the arguments that is being made is that there was enough time for Michael Proctor to fuck with evidence, to get
Tell
it.
me who Michael Proctor is.
Michael Proctor's the lead investigator in this case.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go into that. We'll go into that now. We'll go through everybody in a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, to finish what you're saying there.
So that's it. So the argument is that there was time for that taillight to be, doctored in some way or whatever. But back to your initial point, like I said, where it doesn't really matter in your case, because you believe either way that taillight was intact at that point, which it couldn't have been. That was the next morning. It couldn't have been.
it's interesting because everyone thinks that the what most people think differently to me, that the car bumped into that other car and that's where the glass came out, and then when he pulled out, there's no glass at all there.
Right.
I
Where
don't know. I don't
I've seen
know
it all
that the
intact.
glass. I don't know if the glass was completely broken, but I also know that in that video it was snowing pretty well, pretty wet. So I don't know that you would have seen it because it was dark. So I don't know that you would
if
have
it
seen
broke
any
the, if
glass
the
there.
oh if the glass broke there and it
And
was
even
on
if
the
it, yeah, and even if it cracked, she could have been driving down the road and it could have lost pieces. Who knows?
right.
I understand he found pieces of it allegedly.
Later, the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
And wasn't it the chief
But I'm
of,
like,
I think it was the chief of police is just randomly driving by
did
and he
he?
spots a big piece of taillight. Like that's
And
normal.
where did he find it? Like in where the body was, like near the body?
I think so. I think they're trying to say that's where a snowbank was. So a lot of the pertinent taillight pieces were covered by that snowbank. So then days later,
So
obviously
did the
it's melting or whatever.
snow? Okay, gotcha. So
Yeah.
the snow was melting. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes
But
a
regardless of
little more
anything,
sense.
it doesn't make any difference anyway because of that bump. I don't see it. Even if it bumped, say it did bump, probably the glass is still intact. It makes no difference.
You don't know
It was.
that. You don't know the glass was still
I
intact. You
do.
can't see on the
By the
video.
way, can I do a quick
You can't.
disclaimer again for this
Yeah.
live stream to everybody in the chat? I don't think anybody else who does live streams on this case could also have this like wide-ranging conversation about all these data pieces. Can I
Yeah.
just say that? So I feel like we're coming off like assholes because we don't have all the data on this
No.
one thing. Most of the people that are doing live streams right now, they're reacting to literally what happened either that day or the day before, and
Yeah.
they're analyzing that. And then the prior discussion is typically about like the broader picture of the case and like, I think we're having a broad conversation and speculating because we don't have the specific. I'm just kind of going back to this is editorial and we're three assholes talking. That's all.
And also, like, I kind of hate to just have like the conversation
Right.
and not know the facts. So I'm kind of pushing back and asking because I
Yes.
hate to say something, and because public perception is a huge thing. So I don't want to. I don't want to contribute to the people being anti Karen Read because of anything that we say. And I will start looking things up so that as we talk about them, we can go back and kind of rediscuss it later if we need to.
The problem with this one is that there is no facts, especially with the tail light. It is pure speculation.
Yeah, and that goes back to, that's why the broad conversation is still relevant, is that the lead investigator of this fucking case did not take one single fucking picture of that taillight. And if you think that a tow company who is towing a vehicle from Dighton, Massachusetts to Canton, Massachusetts, 45 minutes, wouldn't have also taken a picture of a broken taillight for their
they would have noted that for their insurance.
Correct, for their insurance because they're liable for that transportation, everything like that. You're crazy there too. So so there's one major fact of this case, and that is the investigation was fucking horribly done.
Yes.
And now, was it horribly done on purpose, or was it just horribly done? We're trying to get to the bottom of that.
And that's the truth.
And so are the feds. So that's a nice tease there.
There might be a video, they say, on the library in town or something that might show the taillight, but they're not releasing it.
Well, the speculation was that she drove by Canton Library and there's like the perfect missing 2 minutes. It's when she drove by of the Canton Library. They don't have it. They have everything before and after. I've then heard, I know. And then we're so far, that's why I go back. We're so far removed from that being everybody on social media's like main talking point. We've moved on now to Turtle Boy and to federal investigations that it's hard to then go back and reanalyze the specific data around that. I've also heard that camera is motion activated where it's she didn't drive by, so that's why the missing 2 minutes isn't there. I don't know.
She had to have driven by somewhere. There has to be camera footage.
Well, that's again now going to the investigation, right? So in the case that I was just a producer, so I tried to get witnesses or whatever. But in a similar case with Sandra Birchmore and Stoughton, which is the next town over from Canton, we interviewed a minimum of 60 fucking people. the state police who are investigating it interviewed, I don't know, 5, and the 5 people include like the main subjects as well. So like they just don't do that shit. The moment that fucking thing happened, I would have had I don't know the hierarchy of law enforcement. Maybe the lowest level officer would be knocking on every fucking door known to man.
Well, yeah, you have people canvassing.
Right.
And you have people go out and collect any kind of footage that might be there and you do that fast because they don't always preserve that stuff.
No, I think
sometimes it's automatically deleted.
It's automatically deleted with security, like ring footage and stuff. I think it's 60 days. It's either 60 or 90 days. They're just going to delete that from their servers. So it's totally, it is the definition of ineptitude that did not occur. Crazy in today's world. Crazy.
So
I mean, we send out letters of preservation, and anytime we think that there's any kind of evidence, we send out letters saying, hey, you have to preserve this evidence. If you have anything related to this, you have to preserve it.
Right.
So that should, I mean,
okay.
But it's not evidence if you don't go get it.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
So it's crazy.
And that's why things like, I know we're rehashing the taillight and stuff again. It's nothing bigger. There's nothing to prove whether it was there, whether it's not. For me, it was definitely on, because like Dave said earlier on, it would have been noted by the people picking up the car if there was no taillight on it, because they would have 100% have noted that. So that's why.
And maybe they did note it. Do we have any? Have we seen?
No, they did not note it. They did not.
They did not note it. No.
Okay. I'm gonna say, have we seen any kind of tow documentation, tow receipt?
I believe there's something out there, but it did not note that aspect of it.
No.
Okay.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
Unless
the allegations,
unless they lied.
So the allegations are that there's like an hour window where that tail light can be messed with by this lead investigator, Michael Proctor. Like that's one of the allegations. And now firing back at that to play devil's advocate is, not that was the most secure crime scene known to man or anything like that, but that hour that he would have had to then go plant the evidence back there, that would probably be a difficult situation for somebody to pull off, given all the attention in that area at that time. I would assume, unless maybe there was opportunity to plant that later, because some of the evidence wasn't found for a couple days after.
So weird. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Well, let's move past this because there's no end in sight on this one. So let's go to the key players, baby. So these are some of the key players that we got. We've mentioned some of them already.
You should put pictures on these, Dylan.
No, I was going to.
This has turned into not necessarily analyzing the Karen Read case. This is just bashing Dylan and everything about the execution of today's live.
No, I'm just trying to listen. No. I'm just trying to say, like, for me, like, I would like to see what these people look like. So I think this is great. I was hoping you had it.
The reason I didn't was because I couldn't tell you who Kevin Albert, what he looks like. And Google. I don't trust enough of Google, because if I put Kevin Albert in, there's few people that come up. I don't know which one's which. So I only know what John O'Keefe and Karen Read look like.
I think I could tell you. I think I could tell you most of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might get mixed up with like Kevin.
So that's why I do not. And I know other streamers have done that, where they put pictures up and they would not actually the right people. So I never want to be accused of that. That's the whole.
Yeah, check your sources.
So that's why I've done it like this. Otherwise, I just thought it'd look odd if I just had John and Karen up there. That's all.
You know what? So, I appreciate that you color coded it.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
So these are the three. Hang on, you can't see my cursor there. So the green covers Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, the Berkovich, who was the former chief accountant, and also Courtney Proctor, the sister of Trooper Proctor. So she's linked in as well. She's key. Obviously, John Keefe and Karen Read. The Alberts are in blue. Now the red are like in-laws of the Alberts. So just to explain that, and then the three in yellow, orange, whatever you want to call it, they play a key part of being there on the evening of some sorts. So that's why that's who they are in a gist. But yeah, in terms of where you want, I'm not sure where you want to start. I'll pass this on to you, Dave, where you feel comfortable in saying about your opinions, who they are, what role do they play in Compton and stuff like that.
Well, I did the rant on Michael Proctor. I mean, my opinion on him, and he's the lead investigator of the case. I don't think he ever should have been near this case for reasons that are my own, that I don't know are necessarily tied to like what law enforcement would think or what attorneys would think. But I don't give a fuck if it's the sister of the brother of the sister or whatever. If there is like a hint of closeness to the people that are major witnesses in a murder investigation in a small town, I have to recuse myself. I think on this stream a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
I made an argument that the entire fucking office should not be involved in that investigation, and I stand by both of those statements. I just think it's so crazy. So in this situation, Courtney Proctor is the sister of Trooper Michael Proctor. Apparently, Courtney Proctor is just very close with the Alberts family, so much so that her mother has referred to the Alberts as their second family. So if you are Trooper Michael Proctor, is there a chance that you are not close with individuals who your mother and sister deem to be their second family? Yeah, there's a chance that you're not close with those people. Is there a chance that you don't know of them, about them, enough to be dangerous? Absolutely fucking not. There are people my mother and my sister hang out with all the time that I don't personally interact with really, but I know of them. I know, who their brothers and sisters are or whatever, and I should not be investigating them. That's just my opinion.
I agree. What do you think, Lady Law?
I think that I've just messed up my mascara, but also, I mean, I don't think that they necessarily have to not investigate it. Like you don't have. I mean, I think it's a good idea, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's a necessary thing. If like you can remain impartial, like if you don't have the close relationship with them, then maybe it'd be okay for you to investigate. Just because your sibling has a relationship doesn't mean
What about
X,
if
Y, and
you're
Z. But
what about if you're in a wedding picture with one of the witnesses or two of the witnesses?
were you part of the wedding party, or you just showed up? Like,
I forget but it's like a formal picture, so I forget if it's
I
a
mean,
wedding.
I think good best practices would be, yeah, like I'm going to turn this over to someone else. But you
Mhm.
also have to consider like the resources. You can't just like make another another police department or another agency investigate, because that's a financial burden, right? So I think that has to also be considered.
Yes.
But
Yep.
ideally, yes, I would think that it would be better for someone who doesn't know the players to be investigating it.
Right, and it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal in the case that I was looking at. It was Trooper Fanning appeared to be the lead investigator on the case. I would have no problem, or not no problem, but it would be less of an issue if Trooper Fanning was the lead investigator in this case and somebody else like Michael Proctor is an investigator helping out behind the scenes. Like it would just be a little bit less of a problem. I would just think that
Yeah, I
the
mean,
district attorney would like safeguard himself from that. That's just my
yeah, it would take some of the sketchiness away from it, like
Yeah, and this is a
this
district
doesn't look.
attorney who plays off everything in the media like he's trying to sway public perception. He's bitching that he doesn't have, information from the feds to add to this case. Then he's going, because he doesn't get what he wants from them, he's going and make a public statement about witness intimidation and calling people out and all this. Like he's playing things out in the media by choice because he wants it to impact the case. But then
Sounds like Eric Bland.
Right,
Sorry.
but then he doesn't safeguard himself in this situation. Like there's like a tremendous amount of arrogance to that. A tremendous amount. And it's kind of funny is because in that case, right, Trooper Fanning in the Stoughton case that we investigated, Trooper Fanning is from Stoughton, Massachusetts, and knew some of the people he was investigating. And so I asked District Attorney Michael Morrissey, do you think that this is a conflict of interest and he should be removed in some, same thing I'm saying here, like he should be away from this investigation? And Michael Morrissey's argument to me was because he knows the players, he could be more of an asset to the investigation, which in that case, I think is a moderately fair argument rebuttal back to me because he wasn't as close. But there was no fucking wedding pictures of Trooper Fanning with the people we were looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is way worse than that. But he made a decent argument there.
Yeah, I think I lean towards what you say, Dave, in the sense that I just why put yourself in that position. But I also get sort of what you say in Lady Law as well. But I just think in any kind of case we've learned. I know Lady Law's trying to be devil's advocate a little bit as well there, but I think in any case, in this magnitude, I think that it's maybe they didn't think it was going to blow up like this. Maybe. And I think
right. I mean, that's all going on very early, and these are people who may not have necessarily thought that this was going to explode, and they can go about their way behind the scenes. The story wasn't as big of a deal, even though anytime, I mean, the headline was very quick. I think it was like February 1st or something like that. Girlfriend runs over police officer boyfriend. Like that's not to think that that's not going to expand in some way is either crazy or an indictment on our news media that they wouldn't run with that in some way. You know what I mean?
Well, and I also think the whole Turtle Boy thing has really brought the more attention to it. You know what I mean?
Oh, like, Turtle Boy took it to the moon. Yep.
Doing whatever. It's almost like JLR Investigates is kind of what the vibe that Turtle Boy gave me. I hate to say that, but because I don't know how you feel about Turtle Boy, but just some of this, like at first I thought he was going to be okay, but some of the things that I saw where he was calling people and things like that and like recording it, I thought kind of pushed the envelope a little too far, in my opinion, legally.
So in terms of that, we had this conversation last time as well. You know,
yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I no, I'm not butting in because we've discussed it before. I'm butting in because I had the same view as you until I spoke to Dave. Now, Dave knows Turtle Boy quite well, so
do you like him?
Yeah. I mean, he's been good to being good to me. We're acquaintances. I wouldn't say like we're friends. We don't text each other. Gotcha. But when I was we were doing the case that I keep referencing in Stoughton, he texted me about that. He disagreed with our assessment, and then when this whole thing with Karen Read happened, he turned around and said, "No, now I agree with you. I think the investigation was so shitty." So I know him in a realm that I wouldn't have problems. My problem now is I'm reading some stuff and I'm like, I don't think he would sell his soul for money, but I'm seeing things which is making me question that. And I didn't think of him as a guy that was he knew this woman was a witness in his case and he went back to her apartment. So clearly he's going to get arrested and violate bail and that. There's just these things where whether you think he's been wronged for being in jail or not, there's things that he should have known not to do and he did, and it's now playing in my head that's kind of strange. But at least to go back to your question, we've all I've worked in radio and he was a guest at times, and then he was a guest on podcasts and stuff. Never had absolutely never had a problem with him. Never, not once. He's never. And I've been on his live stream before. I was blackout drunk one time, did a live stream, and stuff like that. There's just he never had a problem, but he certainly in this area rubs people the wrong way because his headlines will be crotch rocket or trailer trash mom does this. He goes after people that people think are lower level where you don't need to publicize it. I make the argument, he keeps saying he's a journalist, right? I don't think he's a journalist. I don't think I'm being I don't think I'm being disrespectful to him, and maybe we'll have this conversation when he's out of jail or something. I don't think he's a journalist. I think he is, and I don't know the definition.
A sensationalist?
I think he's I think he's an internet influencer in a way. I know that word is. Yeah, I think that
I'm sorry.
kind of like Dylan is now. Actually, Dylan's probably the best
comparison. Oh, he's a trendsetter.
Yeah, he's a trendsetter. But I think that allows you, when you're not a formal journalist, it allows you the liberty to be basically an entertainer, yet allowed to also pursue fact at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So I can't have that specific conversation on what the line is for Turtle Boy. I didn't think, based on my perception or my thought of who he is, I didn't think what he did was illegal. It's over the top. It's aggressive. It's something I wouldn't do, even not as a journalist. If I'm exactly who he is, I would not go through that strategy. It was cringy as fuck to watch one of his enemies put together like a highlight reel of his calls,
Yeah.
if you saw that, his calls to
I saw some of the calls, but I think it may have been, I don't know if it was on his page or if somebody had shared it, but I was just like, ooh.
right. But you got to remember, like, imagine now we're having this live stream 3 times a week, trying to advance this story 3 times a week, also trying to entertain people simultaneously. Like, it's I think when you boil it down to that highlight reel, like 90 seconds, this has been going on for damn near a year now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's kind of, you have to have a little bit of an open mind, but it doesn't change the fact that 90 seconds just felt fucking crazy to watch.
Doogie.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Like but he's arguing he's a journalist, right? Like his attorney is going out there saying he's a journalist. He's protected under this and that from a journalistic standpoint, and that's where I just disagree with him.
I think I just want to know what the qualifications are to make you actually a journalist. Is it a degree? Is it like, is it actually giving valid? I just want to know the
Yeah.
definition of journalist.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a
this
good point. I don't think I don't think he's a member of any like journalist association of America or anything like
Right?
that or whatever.
That's what I'm trying to find out, because
Right.
there's several people saying they're journalists, and I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
you?
like no, but he's protected under the First Amendment to do
True.
at least 99.9% of what he's done. I'm sure if you're claiming you're a journalist, then maybe there's some aspect of where there's wiggle room to fuck with him on that. I would assume. I don't know.
I'm not a journalist, so I
Yeah.
can't say, but I just feel like some things aren't journalism. They're baiting, and well, mainstream media is the same way, but
Yeah. But in
that's a whole
fairness
other
though, like
conversation.
but in fairness, that's how, you know, I think his attorney made this argument because it is the same thing. I came from working on a radio program where when you had a question about something, you just picked up the phone and called them and you told
Yes.
them that you were recording the conversation. It doesn't feel like the news media does that anymore. They send
They
an
don't.
email, they don't hear back. They don't, get out of their fucking
They
chair.
just tell one side of the story, and they're like, "Yeah, we didn't hear back from them."
But it's not even just telling one side of the story. It's literally a lack of effort. It's not.
Yes.
It's sending out an email and not getting up out of your chair and saying, "Okay, they didn't respond to my email. Let me try a phone call. Okay, they didn't answer my phone call. Let me go
show up."
drive to their home, knock on their door. Oh, they don't want to talk to me there. Okay, now when you go to print or you go on local television and you say, "I tried 3 means of
Yes.
contacting this individual." Now we say like, "Wow, they're dodging you. Like you went for the information, so I applaud you for trying to go get it, and now they're trying to dodge you, so they're hiding something or something like that."
Yeah.
So I don't really have a problem with any of that type of shit Turtle Boy did, and I don't think a lot of people out there who are against him really have a problem with it. It's when that he also has a cult-like following that turns into a mob that then he
Yes.
turns these people into enemies, and he does bear some responsibility of not necessarily exactly what they do, but like bringing that energy onto the world.
Well, I mean,
Like,
he can discourage it, right? Like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, but I want you guys to not do X, Y, and Z." It's kind of like, Dylan, and I've even had some of this when we were talking about the Murdaugh trial and stuff. I mean, some of those people are like the Manny Matney supporters are wild.
Yep.
The things that they do, like the weird trying to get people's channels yeeted, and
Yep.
to me it's just strange. Like, if you don't like somebody, cool, just don't like them. Do
Right.
a stream that tells why you have the opinion that you do, but don't try to destroy somebody else's livelihood. That doesn't make sense to
But
me.
even if Turtle Boy went to his audience and was like, "Okay, tomorrow protests, let's all go," and entices people to take some of these actions that have occurred or whatever, that doesn't mean Turtle Boy is assuming that anybody in his mob is going to do anything illegal. And the other side of
Right.
it is like, I view Turtle Boy as a person who I don't really give a shit if they're a loyal follower of his or not. He would call out that person, or that's the Turtle Boy I knew. Like, he'd be like, "Okay, you supported me, but you also just did something illegal, and you're a fucking asshole." Like, kind of like
Yeah.
like that's the person that I thought, and maybe he still is, and it's just got to play out in court and see where this goes. But yeah,
You hope, yeah. Okay, right. Let's park Turtle Boy for a minute because I think every stream we do, we'll be talking about Turtle Boy anyway.
I'm sorry. It's my fault.
No, it's fine.
I don't know.
I mean, everything's your fault, but I forgive you. It was fine.
Right.
Right.
You invited me here, and I have questions because I'm not in the know. So how else am I?
I'm just waiting for you to. Can you just pop on screen for fuck's sake? That's the only reason I invited you.
Fixing my hair.
You don't, Dylan. You don't deserve any wins today. I'm sorry, but it just it doesn't. You don't
it's
get
all
the
else.
Yeah.
No, it's all else.
You're lucky I woke up at 5 o'clock for you.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't do that for anybody else, just so you know.
No, it's lucky I woke you. Do you know what I mean? So I came in and woke you. Right, Albert. What do we? Last time we spoke about them, but there's so many pieces here. I don't know much about Kevin or Tim or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't even know who's Tim. Did you word Tim wrong? Do you have Chris somewhere or no? Oh, you do have Chris. Yep.
Hang on.
Yeah, I don't even really know. I think Kevin Albert is the Canton police officer, right? Yeah.
He is, yes. So before we go any further, shout out as well, just for my own back here.
Sleuthy Goosey?
Sleuthy Goosey. I got all this information from her, so fair play to her. She's done a hell of a lot of work.
Shout out to Sleuthy.
Yeah, go and follow her. Without her, I would not have any of this information. So shout out to her. Credit all goes to her. I've only just did it in my own little style, So, right, Tim. Let's have a look for Tim here. Tim Albert. Oh, I must have put his fucking name wrong, probably knowing me. Oh, here we are.
Here we are.
Tim Albert. He is the Fredo of the family, the nobody of the family. He is Brian, Chris, and Kevin.
Oh, right. And I think the only, if you go back to that, under her list, isn't he one who lived at the parents' home and then they dug up the pool and in the beginning of this, the pool, the pool where the parents owned a home.
I have no clue what y'all are talking about.
Yeah, no, it's fucking wild. Tim is probably irrelevant. Kevin is on the Canton Police Department. It sounds as if he should have, hopefully maybe people in the chat or whatever could see the good morning, everybody. Maybe people in the chat could elaborate what Kevin's involvement that's come to light has been with this case. Not that, it is weird that an Albert who is the brother of the person who owned the home is also on the Canton Police Department. That's just kind of wild, but I don't know how that's specifically intertwined aside from just kind of these fucking people all know each other.
The notes
how big is Canton?
Yeah.
How big is Canton?
I forget how many people, but not large, not a large. Yeah.
So are we talking population of 20,000?
Probably a little bigger. Canton, yeah.
Yeah, it was bigger than that.
Okay.
20. Yeah, it's right there. 24,000 basically.
Oh, okay.
So it is small. Okay.
Yep.
So the notes I have on Kevin Albert is that, not my notes, from Sleuthy, is he's a detective for the Canton Police Department. A video John O'Keefe sent him and text logs between him and John were recently turned over in discovery. Aware of John calling and tipping off police to drug activity in the neighborhood.
Yeah. There's some, I think it was speculation. John was he was a Boston police officer, but he was aware of some drug activity in Canton. And I think, again, this is where when we just toss out baseless accusation, we don't have proof, but I think there was some accusations that Colin Albert, the nephew of Brian Albert, who owned the home, and we can go in there, we can go through all these people again as well. But I think there was some speculation that John O'Keefe was accusing Colin Albert of selling drugs. I can't tell you for a definitive answer if that has been debunked or not, but that has been speculation on the internet.
So I'm not sure about that, but sorry. Go on.
Before I forget, Dylan, I have a question after we're done talking about this. I saw something about Karen Reed, they went and got phones from her house.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes,
I got it in my slide.
Okay.
I got it in my slide. We'll cover it in a second. So Colin Albert, the only notes down here is his nickname is Bang Bang Albert, son of Chris Albert, nephew of Brian Albert.
His nickname is Bang Bang Albert from Turtle Boy, I believe.
His name could be Prince Albert.
I don't think his
This
friends
is
are
all
going
from-
around saying bang bang, but go
No,
on, yeah.
this is all from Sleuthie Goosey's.
Don't throw Sleuthy under the bus. That's not her fault.
It's
She's
all-
doing her job.
It's on the sheet. I'm only going by her spreadsheet, so I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So the notes are: he likes to fight, notorious for hating John O'Keefe, was definitely inside 34 Fairview the night of the murders, but people have denied that for a year. So I presume that's again speculation.
Speculation that he was.
Cite your
Speculation that he was.
sources.
Yeah, speculation that he was in the home. So that's something that we want to bear out officially. Even though there's some reputable people on the internet that seem to believe it as a certainty, but whatever. You said something else about him in that description that I wanted to.
Likes to fight, notorious for hating John O'Keefe.
Okay, notorious for hating John O'Keefe. That might be a little exaggerated. I could be wrong on this as well. But apparently there was an incident where they all, like him and his bunch of buddies, got hammered and like threw a bunch of beer cans on John O'Keefe's lawn, maybe because they had an argument. They lived near each other and they had an argument about something. I don't know, but that hasn't been I don't believe that's been debunked by anyone necessarily. I don't know if that means they have some crazy fucking rivalry or were these just kids that were being assholes and maybe Colin just kind of thought John was a piece of shit or whatever, but that doesn't mean like he dedicated his entire life to making John O'Keefe's life a living hell. I don't think that occurred.
Okay. But he's been accused of a lot of stuff, isn't he? Because of that hatred, they think that he beat. Some people speculating that he beat John O'Keefe essentially.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely at the home. There are people claiming that he left the home, and I think I've even seen somebody online that people actually think is a burner account for Chris Albert. Though I don't know, I'd be shocked, but it is what it is. That account is saying that there's video of Colin Albert leaving the home that night, which, again, if he is saying that, wouldn't that mean that there's video of the incident?
Whatever happened? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
No.
so hopefully,
Okay.
yeah, I hope there's video of Colin Albert leaving the home that night. That'd be fantastic. So that's that angle of it. I think Chris Albert is his father. Chris Albert has just been very, he owns a pizza place in town. He's been very kind of like aggressive vocally in this case in the anti Karen Read thing. He's been silent lately since he got like just the shit kicked out of him. But I don't think Chris Albert did anything specifically in this case to like fuck with anything in any way or anything. He's just kind of like Turtle Boy just made him like kind of a victim to try to get more information or to say like, we know your son was there, just fucking admit it type of thing or stuff.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Perry's got a question. Is the prosecution saying John O'Keefe went underneath the vehicle or was thrown onto the lawn? They haven't really, have they come out and said exactly their theory? I think there's been accused that he might have gone under the car, but I don't think they've not actually come out, I don't believe, and said this is exactly how it happened. Or am I wrong?
I think their thought, like they clearly said he never went inside the home. So that's one. So they
don't think he actually went inside?
Nope. Prosecution said he did not go inside the home. And the defense is trying to prove that, which again, I don't speak all the data points, but they've had his phone and the defense's expert says that he made X amount of steps and some of it is showing elevation so that he went upstairs. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. That's not geofence data. So supposedly like the defense is having trouble getting the geofence data and that will play out in court and that will that'll absolutely define who was in that home, I believe.
But see, I just have problems still with like, I know that cellular data and stuff like that can help, all of those things, but I still have trouble like actually pinning things on people based off of cellular data, especially like tower, like you can triangulate and all that stuff and geofencing, I get it. But, just like, well, your phone shows that you took X amount of steps. Well, yeah, I can shake my phone and it'll do whatever, or sometimes it won't.
But in this case, in cases, like I'm not saying it all proves everything, but in this case, if the defense is saying unequivocally that a human being did not enter a home, yet they can pinpoint steps and the defense can prove that those steps that the phone gave you were outside of the kind of like handling of the phone, right? Like a police officer taking the phone and bringing it here or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
would think that would be a valuable asset to at
I
least
mean,
cause
yeah,
doubt
I
in a
think you're
jury's mind, right?
correct. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. So in terms of the Alberts as a whole, they're big names in Canton. From
Yeah,
what I gather.
again, this is just me being local and knowing people in Canton. I've heard rumors they're fucking assholes. I've heard rumors of, you know, like gambling and shit when it wasn't legal. Like all, you know what I mean? All that stuff. But like Brian Albert was a monster detective or whatever his label was in the Boston Police. Like he's seen some crazy shit, probably done some crazy shit. So I'm sure there's like a crazy amount of opinions on Brian Albert and who he is. One of the major opinions that has been brought out in this case, at least, is that there's a human being who turns out to be a Boston police officer, just like the homeowner, Brian Albert. There's a human being who is dead on the homeowner's lawn, and the homeowner does not come out of his house for a fellow officer in general, a Canton resident, a Boston police officer specifically. So like there's all these things. So even if he didn't know him personally, there's all these things that you would say to yourself, man, I hope if I die on a lawn, I hope I die on a police officer's lawn and that they'll come out and help me. And
Oh, so he didn't come outside like after he was found?
no, he did not come outside. And he
Hmm.
was, and you know, there were calls from Jen McCabe, who was on this list, who's a witness. She made calls in. They didn't answer. They're arguing he was sleeping. I don't know. Commotion.
Well,
And yeah, like
I
so
wonder if there was
yes,
any activity on his phone.
right. And there, I'm not
And if
pulling it
there
up.
wasn't, was he dead?
Right. Like, how do you not wake up through that stuff? I don't know. So that's all. I think that's probably fair, and I can't wait to see that play out, because that, if that doesn't fuck with a jury of why a Boston police officer didn't come out of his home when there was a fellow officer dead on his front lawn, it's fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I also like I mean, you would hope that an officer would come out, but also people are just freaking weird. What we think they
Yeah.
should do and what people actually do in a moment
Right.
are two different things.
And it's a crime scene. In his mind, he could say, like,
Yeah, I'm not going out there.
That's a crime scene, and I shouldn't tamper, contaminate in any way with a crime scene. So that's a logical devil's advocate opinion there.
Good point. There's one thing I want to bring up here, because I know we're time restricted as well, but I want to move on to the second here, because Brian Albert's a big guy in name in police force, but Brian Higgins, this is one I found very interesting, right? Because the complete opposite, he was inside 34 Fairview the night of John's death, and then he went to Canton Police Department at 1:30 a.m. to do paperwork.
Yep.
That to me is more sus than Brian Albert not coming out. So he at 1:30 in the morning, he left the house and went to the police department to do, inverted commas, paperwork.
Is this after the death?
Yes.
No, this is the time frame. The time frame of the death.
He would have technically left after the death took place.
Yeah,
because in their mind,
night?
Well, in their mind, the death occurred at let's call it 12:30 a.m. And so he went to the Canton Police Department at 1 a.m. to do work. Now,
did he work the night shift?
No, I don't believe he was like going. I don't believe it was like, hey, I'm on duty right now. First of all, he was not a Canton police officer. He has an office inside the Canton Police. He's an ATF agent or whatever. ATF.
Okay.
So he's whatever that means.
And he'd been drinking? I have questions.
Yeah, I don't know if his consumption level was it. I mean, the rumors are rampant that like he was legitimately the guy who like watched guard as they dumped the body.
Oh.
And that's
now those are like, so there have been text messages going around through I fucking hate this case. There's just so much stupid fucking, you know what I mean? Like you can't talk about one thing without going back to something else and completely fucking up our entire conversation of whatever it is. But I've seen text messages, which is basically Turtle Boy talking to Karen Reed, allegedly, through an intermediary. Okay,
Okay.
so it's so if Dylan and I want to have if Dylan's a criminal and I want to text him as Turtle Boy, Lady Law is texting me to get information or whatever to Dylan. And this person like had a shitload of information, and I've seen texts where this intermediary was basically like detailing exactly what happened, which was there was a fight. Colin was there. ATF agent Brian Higgins watched guard as they dumped the ball. Like, you know, which is wild, but there's
So
there's like reputable people. There's a guy on Twitter who I like because he's kind of a shit talker too, but he was in law enforcement for 30 plus years. Like, he's taking her word as truth, and he like believes this as a certainty. Like, he'll risk his reputation. No, I don't know if he has.
I want to verify. I'm one of those that's like, show me, authenticate that these messages came from who you say they came from.
The intermediary.
Like, I need proof.
Allegedly, she has a why am I blanking on the term? Like, she can't be prosecuted. Immunity deal. Allegedly, she has an immunity deal because she gave all the text messages that she corresponded with Turtle Boy or other witnesses or whatever through Karen. So now you brought up the phones from yesterday. Like, literally, some of those texts came out the last 48 hours that I saw, and now all of a sudden Karen Reed's phone is gone, which could mean that she was having conversations. Maybe that was a spark. Who knows? Maybe it has nothing to do with anything, but maybe that was a spark to go get Karen's phone to see what she was talking to this woman about. But if this woman has had immunity for an extended period of time, they already have those messages through that woman.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pivot here because I think we can revisit this, right? This beautiful chat we'll revisit next time we do this. Because you just brought it up, I think
a lot of typos on the chart, Dylan. I don't know. Did you notice that, Lady Law, or no?
I'm not looking. I'm actually curling my hair, but
okay. I just didn't know if you noticed.
Hold on, I'm gonna look because if I had noticed, I would have said something.
Yeah.
I don't even look at this any. Yeah. I have not seen any, but
I would have to zoom this up to 3,000% to be able to read some of this.
Right. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm even looking at it now going, where's the typo? I can't see any, but I trust you, Dave.
Yep. Thank you.
But you also didn't see her back into a vehicle, so we know your eyesight sucks.
That's true.
No, she definitely didn't. But that's
she definitely did.
We got past. Well, this is why we debate, isn't it? We've all got different opinions.
Well, I'm going to send you the video later, and I'll zoom in on.
I just muted it, so shut up. Right, so I'll mute it now because I do love her.
Fuck off.
This is Ted Daniel, Jennifer Coughlin-Daffer. I'm not sure if this is what we're speculating, but Ted Daniel says Norfolk County Special Prosecutor Ken Mello just confirmed for me that MSP seized 2 phones from Karen Reed today related to the investigation. Mello's running into allegations of witness intimidation.
Yep.
Just today. That is not this is not the murder investigation. It is a separate case concerning Aidan Kearney, who people know as Turtle Boy. My opinion on this, right, for a second, is this is.
Hold on, who's Mello?
Ken Mello is an attorney that the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office hired, allegedly after reaching out to multiple other attorneys. He agreed to take on the special case that is witness intimidation charges toward Aidan Kearney, Turtle Boy. So he is the prosecutor of Turtle Boy's witness intimidation case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is
so clearly, and by the way, like let me go on that for a second. Because Turtle Boy is a witness, maybe in the Karen Reed case. I should know this, and I'm just too stupid to retain information. Because he's a witness in the Karen Reed case, I'm assuming the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office thought that it was a conflict of interest for them to be investigating Turtle Boy for witness intimidation or anyone in his office. So they brought it on Mello? Is that fair?
I mean, maybe.
Well,
I don't know. I'd have to research it.
I mean, Mello's there for a reason, and he doesn't work in the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. So either way, he's the investigator of that one.
So once again, it's turned into the Turtle Boy show rather than the murder case. But anyway, Coughlin-Daffer jumped on board. She's jumped on board. We knew there was an investigation into whether Karen Reed, who was accused of the second-degree murder of John O'Keefe, was conspiring to harass and intimidate witnesses in her case. But now we know her phones were seized. That takes an affidavit showing probable cause of criminal activity signed by a judge. My question is, could her bond be revoked based on her activities? And then she's got another one as well. By now, it should be clear the blogger Kearney and his minions are seemingly involved in an array of criminal activity. The law is clear when it comes to witness intimidation, yet laws continue to be broken. Every time I cover this case, I need a shower afterwards. Okay, why? Because
She's right about
it's
that
hard.
pretty much. Yeah.
It's hard to watch the breadth of false allegations against innocents for the purpose of one, clearing accused murderer. Fuck me, right? So he says false allegations against innocents for the purpose of clearing accused murderer. Can read, and two, keeping the gravy train rolling. Those falsely accused and the family and friends of John O'Keefe are the victims, and as more and more information is exposed, more and more people seem to be in the web of wrongdoing. I will say it again. March can't come quick enough. And then obviously Grandad Smith Ellis as well. He's breaking stuff.
Can I make a really asshole and completely it's a very I'm trying to think of a respectful way to tell everybody that I'm a piece of shit. But like witness intimidation. If somebody, and I think we all play this stuff out all the time, right? And we have attorneys that tell us opposite. But if I am a witness in a murder case and I was at a party with these people and well, you know what I mean? Like I'm intertwined in this beast. I pretty much think that my life is about to get pretty fucked up. And I'm pretty open. I don't know. I'm pretty open about the information that I have. And I'm like, here's my fucking phone. I didn't delete shit. Take it, because I didn't fucking kill somebody. Like, take it. I know that's easier said than done. I know that's like an
Please
internet.
Don't do that.
I know, right? So I know that, but don't you kind of feel that way in this, where it's like there's fucking 15 people involved that were there that night. Like all of them have information and all deserve to be questioned and probably are going to get prodded in certain ways. I know, like, if I have a hit song and it explodes to the top of the charts, I become an international sensation overnight. My life just fucking changed, right? Like Taylor Swift can't walk around by herself anymore. I'm not saying that's the best example of this, but like shit changes for all these people. And this whole like witness intimidation, like I don't know why I just don't feel that bad about it. Like I don't. I like especially don't really for some reason feel bad about the Boston Magazine reporter who is like saying now she's being harassed by people because she did her job. Like, you know, when you fucking cover stories like this involving people like this, it's fucking gonna happen. Like I was a podcast producer and I took shit left and right. I deserved 99% of it. Some of it I didn't, but it was like, it came at you and it is what it is. It's not the end of the fucking world. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that just all like everybody's so woe is me whiny.
I think that there are certain things that come along with any kind of job, and it's just part of the job, and you just have to learn to deal with it.
Yep.
Just like online hate, you choose to put yourself into a certain position, you're going to have to learn to handle whatever comes at you.
But if you're at a party where somebody winds up dead, like whether you like it or not, your shit is about to change. And so like that to me is where it's like, and people are going to knock on your door and start asking questions. Now, do you expect them to be fucking animals? Do you expect them to also then rally up a base of people? Like Ted Daniel in these tweets is a great reporter. He is on his own. When he goes and reports something and puts it out on the news, like he's just Ted Daniel. So like he can go at Jen McCabe or Brian Albert or whatever as much as he wants. It's just a 1-to-1 situation. So it's really, even though it sucks for them, it's not as intimidating. When Turtle Boy does it, he has an army of people that are backing him, right? Because the reality is, like, Ted Daniel's just one guy. He's no bigger than the news station he works for. It could have been like anybody. You could recycle a different person and they'd get the same result. Turtle Boy's different. Like, you can't just take Turtle Boy away, because if you do, you just lost thousands of people who are going to walk right behind him as he shows up at your house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
It's just a different, whether you like it or not, somebody called bullshit. And by the way, even if Turtle Boy's completely wrong on this shit and she did it and she's using all this manipulative, type of shit just to like fight her way out of jail, and she's fucking people over why she does it, because basically if you're about to spend the rest of your life in jail, yeah, I'd fight tooth and nail to stay out of that situation probably as well. But like, I forget the point that I was making there, but it just seems to me like even if he is wrong, this investigation caused him to do what he did. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, it does.
if you're not going to fucking take a picture of a taillight when you seize a vehicle, somebody's going to try to be an internet keyboard guy.
You're going to have to answer it.
You're going to have to answer it when
for
somebody, because it's going to be, if it wasn't Turtle Boy, someone was bringing up that fucking taillight. And someone was bringing up the fact that, like, a week after this incident occurred, Colin Albert has a cut on his fucking hand. Like, those are things that, whether you like it or not, I know you hate Turtle Boy because he calls people twats in headlines, but, like, somebody on the internet was going to do that. Like, somebody was going to do it, and maybe they just didn't have they wouldn't have had as big of a reach, but it was going to happen.
Well, and I think that, it kind of brings attention to the fact that, some of these police investigations are just trash. And so maybe just do better work.
Right.
Just do better. Be better.
Right. You hear that, Dylan?
Yeah, I'll try to be better. I'll try to be better. No, I agree with it. In sense of Turtle Boy, I obviously was a big hater on the way he did things, but now he grasping a bit more of an understanding of why he's doing it. If it's not him, someone else would do it. I still don't agree with everything that he does, but the fact is he's got messages out there, which is good. And you see how really, you see the DA, was it the DA that I read something on TV saying, basically he's going to tamper the jury pool himself by making sure that everyone knows that Karen Reid's guilty. So in a way, I'm glad now that Turtle Boy is the opposite and wants to tamper the jury pool as well, to say Karen Reid is innocent.
Right. Right.
So they're both doing the same thing essentially. So
I don't like it. Two wrongs don't make a right.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Tamper with the jury pool.
I totally agree with you. But I can understand a little bit now why he did what he did a lot more.
So what will they, in your legal, I apologize if this is, but in your legal opinion, when they go to select the jury, like these people, you have to find people that legitimately have never heard of the case?
Yeah.
Well, you have to find people that, they can hear about it.
Yep.
But, you want them to have, like, I've heard about it, but I know nothing about it. Or they have to say that, they can still remain impartial, which I don't know that anybody can really remain impartial after they've heard certain things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know, because then you get things set in your mind and then it's like, okay, well, no matter what you show me, you're not overcoming what I already think.
And to be completely honest with you, like, it's the prosecution only really brought, we give Turtle Boy a lot of credit for bringing this case to light and turning it into the internet thing that it is. But I said this last time, Dylan, I don't think it's much. I know it feels like it's much when you're in the conversations and the same 1,000 people are watching the same random grifters do live streams raising money for Karen's Defense Fund. It feels like it's bigger than it is. It's not there. And it's there now. It's in the media. Like, what would matter is, did the Globe get it? Did the Boston Herald get it? Or all the local things? That's like just starting to pick up. It's just starting to be reported in local media. Ted Daniel was early for local media. He was late as fuck. Like, there were literally, I remember, this is literally like 2 months ago probably, people in the Facebook group begging Ted Daniel to fucking start doing shit on this. And now he's the goddamn savior. It's crazy. And the Globe has written 2 articles this week. Go search her name and see the dates on the Karen Reid articles. You'll see that there is a major fucking gap between girlfriend ran over cop boyfriend with her car on, I think it was February 2nd or 1st or whatever they wrote that headline, to basically a month ago. Like, it's not, and it's never been on the local news at night. So I know this is kind of a different conversation, but in terms of tampering a jury pool, I know we all want to say that, like, the internet is, very accessible and everybody's on Twitter and TikTok or whatever. It's a very tight bubble. Like, I honestly believe that if I walk down the street right now, I'm on the south, I'm 25 minutes away from Canton right now. If I walk down the street and pick 10 people, I'm going to say it's 50-50 of people that heard about this case.
It depends on age. It depends on, how how active people are on social media and things like that too. So, I mean,
Right.
I think you can find a jury pool that doesn't know, but then you have those people who are like, no, I don't know, and they actually do. I don't
Right.
know.
Do
I
know,
just don't
yeah.
trust people.
Right. No, you're right.
It's a tough one. Okay, look, there's so much to discuss on this case and everything going on, but I understand that these two got to go to work as well. So we'd be going for nearly 2 hours between both streams and between our conversations. So, and then, I know you've got a little bit more work to do, maybe. But, so yeah, I thank you both for this. I can't wait to reconvene and discuss it again. We'll discuss offline when it's convenient, especially for you, Dave, and if Lady Law can join us. Probably not at this time of the morning, but I still am grateful, Lady Law, that you've joined us this morning.
I mean, listen, I can join, but this is what you're going to get. Like, you're probably going to just have me not on camera, just getting ready while
No, that's fine. I just appreciate all the pictures you've been sending me as you're doing it, so that's fine. I'll take that. That's fine.
What did you say?
You taking the pictures of you getting ready.
Oh,
Thanks for them. I appreciate
you're welcome.
okay.
Oh, can I just answer? I saw you put it on the screen, but we didn't do it. Perry asked,
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
do you know if the FBI investigation, you put it up, is covering the Sandra Birchmore case as well? I had heard rumblings that the FBI was looking into it back, like either after we stopped the podcast season or during, I forget when it was, but then I heard nothing about that ever since. My assumption is that if this thing plays out as though there was a lot of corruption and conspiracy involved with that office, you have to take a look at everything. You have to take a like now they're going to move on whether they like it or not. If Karen Read is innocent, that same crew of people is probably going to move over to Sandra Birchmore.
What is Sandra Birchmore about? Has she been convicted? Is she?
Nope. Sandra Birchmore killed herself at the age, I believe, of 23. I'm a little bit removed from this story now, but at the age of 23, she was she was part of the Police Explorer programs, which is basically like Boy Scouts for police officers, where a certain amount of police departments have like junior programs, right?
Yeah,
and
so type thing.
Yep. And so lots of players, yes. So one of the guy who ran the Explorer program, and then two other gentlemen, possibly more, like basically groomed her starting at the age of like 13 years old. One of them was sleeping with her when she was 13 years old, and he was
yeah,
it's horrific. And so if you ask me, we don't need to go into the entire story, but a night plays out where we obtained the surveillance footage of her apartment building, and Matt Farwell, who was her, he basically impregnated her, right? She was going to have his baby, and he shows up at her building, and then, in his words, he called it off with her that night, and she kills herself. According to the cops, according to a lot of these same players that according to the same people that are involved in this investigation, they want us to believe that he broke up with her and she killed herself damn near immediately after he left that apartment.
And she was pregnant.
And she was pregnant, and I don't believe it. But unfortunately, in podcast season 2, we could not necessarily prove it.
When did that happen?
Geez, I'm blanking. I keep getting dates with Karen Read. I think that was 2022.
Was it like recent? Okay.
Yeah, 2022, I believe, and that was in Canton. So that was a Canton. Canton police showed up. Then they turned it in the same situation. Canton police shows up to these things, and they turn it over to the state police.
So is he charged with
nope, they never. Nope, she killed herself. Like, they walked in and they ruled it a suicide immediately, and their investigation worked its way to prove that point, or to attempt to prove that point. And now the family is suing for a wrongful death, and they likely will obtain. Yeah, well, no, well, I don't. We won't do that. But
it's not. I'll say it like.
Yeah, but it's not family. It's not. If you're holding somebody it is family, but it's cousins and aunts. If you're holding somebody accountable and you think justice is money, and I understand sometimes legally that just has to be the case, fine. I don't think that the family did enough to push the police to do anything and to prove or whatever to help this situation. Like, we uncovered some information. We shared it immediately with the family's attorney that could potentially add like crazy amount of dollars to their wrongful death settlement eventually. So it's, it just sucks. I hope that this Karen Read thing, I guess if you're just asking me what I want to come out of the Karen Read thing, I mean, one, I want justice for John O'Keefe, however that comes about. And then two, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't hope there was corruption that occurred, because then it opens up Sandra's case again, because that's a whole different beast. So
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. So where
she
do
was
we find that? Where do we find that podcast?
The Case Season 2 is the podcast. And if you search Sandra Birchmore, you'll find a ton of articles about it. But we're talking about a girl who was, just absolutely abused by people in positions of authority, and it's just a horrific.
How old was she when she offed herself, allegedly?
I think she was 23, I believe.
Okay.
Am I blanking on that?
So young.
Yeah. So super young. Yep. And she, like, if you go through the process, you watch, first of all, you see the surveillance footage, you're like, holy shit, that person, it looks as if a person was showing up to do what we all think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, Kevin, you seem to be, you know that story well. So he probably is like me, where, it's kind of weird to say, because that case is super close to me, at least, that I want to see justice for her in the real way, or at least like what I believe to be effort put in to obtaining justice. This was another piece of shit investigation. So
yeah, hold your law enforcement accountable for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
That's something we'll look into as well. Keep an eye out for this. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for being here. We will do another one. So don't worry, we'll do plenty of these on the lead up. It's going to be happening in March, unless something happens this trial. So
Dylan must need to
don't
poop.
worry. No, I don't. I just know you got to go to work. You said you got to go off. Yeah, you said you got to leave. So I'm like, well, Dave's got to work as well. So I'm like, I don't want to go straight to work type of thing. So
I do agree. I do agree with what we talked about, which is like, there probably is a place to reassess all these specific elements of this case. Like, the party occurred on this night, this is who was there, is episode 1. And you know what I mean? Because it's just, to have this type of conversation, this is totally fine, where it's a broad conversation, but the value is probably when you dial into each specific aspect for a specific amount of time, and because there's so much with this fucking case. It's crazy.
Well, and I think you almost have to set it up as like, these are the players, get your base pattern, like these are the players, and then you can kind of say, how they are related to each person in the case, and you just kind of have to go bit by bit. But yeah, I probably run that for everybody by.
And you gotta remember, I mean, so it's January 15th. The next court hearing is February 15th, though David Yannetti is saying, and it appears to be confirmed, that the feds are going to release information that presents a strong likelihood that this case will not be going to trial on March 15th, before February 15th.
So the feds finally got involved.
The feds got involved. We didn't talk about that because we could probably go on too long for that. But there's 8 letters that were just released between federal agencies and Michael Morrissey's office, whether it's from him directly or an assistant. And it's basically saying, like, Michael Morrissey is just out there begging the feds for information about their investigation, which is they're investigating him in his office. In what capacity? We don't. In what capacity? We don't really know. It would be assumed that they're people are assuming that he's investigating this specific investigation in this case. We don't know that as fact. I don't believe that the letters prove that to be fact. But we know that Michael Morrissey is a whiny, tubby bitch who is trying to search for information from the feds, and they were not playing ball, but they definitely confirmed that something is going on. So
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Kevin posted that the O'Keefe family have been told by the feds that the case against Karen is not going to trial. I read that on X, on Twitter, but
I got like I put a eye emoji on that one, and I got like 20 DMs saying no fucking shot. It's kind of just nonsense that came out of a party. But who knows? Let's let it all play out. Morrissey has absolutely got to be scrambling. I'd be fucking scrambling too, and that's why he's telling Ken Mello to go after Karen Read, get those phones, and do whatever. Yeah, he's absolutely scrambling.
Panicking.
Cool.
Yep.
Right, we'll be bringing you. I'm going to have a discussion offline with you guys. We'll be bringing some sort of more stuff in the coming weeks. So don't worry. Hopefully you can all join us. We'll break it more down again. I like what we discussed here. So thank you everybody. Thank you chat, and we'll have a chat offline for a second, guys. So yeah, appreciate you both. Appreciate chat. Catch you all later. Take care, guys. I'm ending the stream properly this time. Ended it properly. Oh shit! I need to play the thing, don't I? Hang on. My outro.
Dumbass.
Right, see you later, guys. Ta-ra.
Thank you.